Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show on a much better Friday than it was a Thursday. Yesterday was brutally cold.
Oh, you're talking weather.
Weather-wise,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Also, I don't know. It's a Friday, so that always kind of just makes it better.
I need to bring...
Oh, you're kind of zoomed in.
Very zoomed in. Good Lord, I'll zoom out.
I'll zoom out.
TV, too. TV doesn't work, though, so... Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect.
There you go.
That's as much of me as people need.
Yeah. You're telling me.
So, we need to have a talk, you and I.
Yeah, let's air our grievances.
Air our grievances.
On air.
Because you've been ducking me for too long.
Okay.
And you've been... you know what? You haven't been ducking me.
Oh, God. I know exactly where
You've been
this is
ducking the
going.
people. What am I talking about?
I don't even want to say it because in case you're not talking about it, then I don't.
What am I talking about,
No,
Pickle?
I'm not going to say it because in case that's what you're not talking about, then I'm not bringing that up.
Pickle, what am I talking about?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
No, you know what I'm talking about, so tell me what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Give me what to start with.
I'm confused.
No.
Huh?
Tell me.
What?
What am I talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I can. We're in a good old stand-up here. I can go 4 hours of not saying anything. I'm a woman. Silent treatment is my thing. You just get to sit here and look at us stare at each other.
Talking about the pizza bet.
Yep, I knew that was where that was going.
Talking about the pizza bet. It's been like 2 years. It's been like 2 years.
I know I can't do it.
So, what? Okay, no. This is important. This is important. Are you officially okay? Let's reset. If you're just joining us, a couple of years ago, Pickle talked a big game. I brought up a friend of ours. Do you know Jake?
Yeah.
Okay. A mutual friend of ours, Jake Kemp, at the ticket, tried to eat 3 pizzas.
I know of him at least.
Tried to eat 3 pizzas during his show, which was noon to 3. It did not go well for Jake.
No, and I think he might have given himself only like 2 hours. Like,
it was bad. No, it was bad. It was
impossible.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So we brought it to the air, but he had talked a big game. He was like, I could put away 3 large pizzas in 3 hours. It's just a terrible idea, right? It didn't work. So then you kind of started talking a big game about your pizza eating abilities. And you started saying something like, you know what? I could eat 2 pizzas. I believe you said 2 pizzas in 6 hours.
No, we said 8 hours. We said a work day.
A work day.
Yeah,
2
which
large
is technically
pizzas
8 hours.
in a work day.
Yeah.
Okay? And you've just let that linger. And I'm ready to call you on it. I'm ready to call you. But here's your opportunity. Right now, before God and everybody, do you want to withdraw that claim?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
That's fine. I won't bring it up anymore.
Yeah, there's no
anymore.
way. I will say, I have, my boyfriend did it. I've seen someone do it. Like,
really?
Yeah, he did it over the summer. I have seen him do it.
Does he want to come in and do it?
He would. I know he would do it again, but he's also a way larger human than I am. Like, I have realized that there's no way.
When you said it, and now I want to be clear about this. This is going to sound weird. I've eaten with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have eaten meals together.
I can put away some groceries.
You are an accomplished eater.
Yes.
I think you are quite a strong eater. But that was a bridge too far.
Yeah.
When you started talking about how you're going to be able to
And here's the thing. I do think that I could chip away at it pretty darn well. But here's my worry. Do I think that I could do it if I absolutely put my mind to it and I legitimately had 8 hours to do it? Yes, I do think I could possibly do it, but I don't think the payment of being that miserable outweighs doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I think that if my life depended on it, I could do it? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I think that the misery that I would face for the next 24 hours after doing that is worth doing it just for boastful pride? No, I do not think so.
Okay, so really what you're saying is...
I don't want to put myself in that misery.
Wow. That's bold. So what you're saying is you're not unable to do it, you're just a coward.
Yes, that is that is the statement.
See,
I do think I could do it.
For me, I do not think I could do it.
Yeah.
I do not think I could eat 2 large pizzas in 8 hours.
Yeah.
I do not. But for you, you're more afraid of the ramifications.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the other thing that I've always said is I am unbelievably over competitive. So if I know that there's a whole thing, like a whole group of people that are saying, "Oh, she can't do it," I will find a way to get it done, and that's my downfall. Is if I knew that I was strong enough and not like too competitive to just tap out on it, then I would be like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot, and whenever I'm ready to tap out, I'll tap out. But if I'm going to start it, I'm going to finish it because that's how my brain operates, and that's going to get me in trouble because I will be miserable.
Well, we've settled this then.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
We're doing the pizza bet next Friday.
No.
What if it was like a Taco Palenque bet?
Now that I'd go in on, but they have to guarantee us a sponsorship.
Taco P?
If we can do a Taco P thing and that guarantees us a year worth of sponsorship money, I'll take one for the team. Step and I, that's the other thing. I feel like if you're going to do something like this, you need to do it with someone. Like I would want to do some sort of eating challenge like with Step to keep me going, you know?
Okay. I think you got to be able to motivate yourself, but
That's
just
fair.
me.
That's perfectly fair.
All right. Hit the theme expo.
Pickle!
Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine. TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, or on Twitter, or on some other, I don't know. You keep throwing platforms at me.
We are everywhere.
Or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting in this chair, sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She is Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, team.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
By team, do you mean me or?
No, not you. You're just here.
I mean, yeah. And actually, you know what? I will accept your applause now.
Oh, God.
I have worked 4 straight days. That's pretty. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The courage that it takes to come to work 4 days in a row. I mean, we need a statue.
I'm just saying.
We already have your face on glass behind you. I think the only acceptable thing from here on out is a statue.
I don't want to toss around the word hero, but
if the shoe
I have worked
fits.
4 straight days. Today is Friday, January 21st, 2021. 300 and was it 8 days till Thanksgiving? 308? Let's make sure.
That's your one job
that is,
here.
I know. 307. 307 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to, God, it's a bunch of people I don't know. Golly. Happy birthday to Hakeem Olajuwon, the dream.
Yeah, it's all TikTok stars now.
I know, it's terrible.
Also, I guess we could say also, like, R.I.P. to Meatloaf. Sad caw.
Is he a North Texas guy?
Absolutely.
I did not know that.
Caw. Yeah, I tweeted it out earlier. Sad caw. Well, because North Texas is such a huge music school that there's
that makes sense,
ton
actually.
of artists that, like, I mean, the Eli Young Band are from there. There's a ton of them. But, yeah Meatloaf, proud North Texas grad.
It's episode 1003. Is it 1? No, it's 1317.
Oh, yeah, it's 17.
Like
I don't know where that one came from.
On today's show, friends, we're going to talk a little bit about an assistant coach hire that came down today that was made official today. I won't... there's a few of them. Texas A&M announced their defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin. I have some thoughts on that, but then another one that's going down that we should talk about the ramifications of. We'll talk about that in the back half of the show. We are going to be joined live by a big time guest.
So excited!
We're going to be joined by a gentleman named Perry James. Perry James is the world's foremost chocolate milk expert. He has tried and reviewed 1,573 chocolate milks and counting. From 51 different countries. We'll talk a little chocolate milk coming up here with our friend Perry James. I hope he's our friend. If he's not our friend, that's going to break my heart.
This is one of those that I'm going to force him to be my friend.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell myself in my head that this is my friend. It's under your chair.
Oh, it's under your chair. Thank you.
That's the second time you've done that on this show. And just showing people. Tep dropped his wedding ring, so he's picking it up.
Got it.
That was worth a pause in the show real fast.
Right. Anyway, so we're going to be joined by Perry James. Yeah, a guy that we need to make sure he likes us. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Coach Terry Crawford, Aaron Arbuckle, Aaron Flynn, and Jake McNeil. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in. Okie dokie. So it came down today, something that is now official that has been rumored and rumbled around for the past couple of weeks and really took hold earlier this week at a basketball game.
Yeah, of all things.
At a basketball game, somebody snapped a photo. Down in Austin, Texas was playing somebody. Mm-hmm. And in one of the suites was Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte. Mm-hmm. And sitting next to him, having a nice conversation, wearing a white Longhorn pullover, was a gentleman named Gary Patterson.
Sounds familiar.
Perhaps you've heard of Gary Patterson. He is the now former head football coach of the TCU Horned Frogs, the winningest coach in Horned Frogs history.
A man that does have a statue.
A man who has a statue at TCU. He led TCU to 6 conference titles, 9 bowl game victories, including a pair of New Year's Six. Is that what we'll call them? New Year's Six bowls. They won a Peach Bowl and a Rose Bowl.
Yep, New Year's Six bowl.
I mean, he helped to elevate TCU to the place that they are right now, which is he helped them navigate into the Big 12 and helped rise them to a program that, the past couple of years weren't great, but was certainly brought them to new heights. Well, it has now become official, according to the University of Texas, that Gary Patterson has joined the staff of Steve Sarkisian. He is his title is Special Assistant to the Head Coach. Special Assistant to the Head Coach. So there's a lot to unpack here. But first, let's kind of talk about why this is happening and what I think is going on. And this is going to be a little dangerous because we are going to be trying to dive into the mind of Gary Patterson. I've had conversations with Gary Patterson.
That is a mind you cannot get into.
They've always been pleasant, but I'm not going to pretend to know the man. I'm only going to work under the assumption that he has emotions like a lot of other people. I think it's fair to call Gary Patterson's departure from TCU messy. I think that it was not exactly how he had foreseen it going. I think it's not exactly how TCU had foreseen it going. I think that the relationship between Gary Patterson and TCU had grown stale. And I think that people, from what I understand, and I'm going to try to use I think and I know in ways, and I think that people within the TCU organization knew that there needed to be a coaching change. So, apparently, this is what has been reported. Apparently, they came up with a plan to more or less force him into retirement, that they were going to announce the retirement throughout the course of like mid-season, and he was going to and then he was going to go on like a big farewell tour, and it was going to be like they were going to do a parade and all these things. And Gary Patterson, one of the things about Gary Patterson that I know, Gary Patterson is a gentleman who don't take no guff. Yep. And especially there at TCU, at a program that he helped to build up to the standard that it is right now, if he didn't like that plan, he wasn't going to go along with that plan just because there was the plan. And so, functionally what happened is he went to TCU and he goes, no, I'm not going to do this. If you want me to leave, fire me. And so they came to an agreement, a separation agreement, where they mutually parted ways. There on Halloween after they at 3 and 5, and so at that point he was the second longest tenured coach in FBS. And so Gary Patterson is out at TCU. You may have heard they've recently hired a new head coach, and Sonny Dykes. You can listen to him on the Republic of Football. Great conversation with him and Mike Gray. And I'll be honest, joining the staff at Texas feels like a little bit of dating your ex-girlfriend's, dating your ex-girlfriend's friend.
That's fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because especially those two teams have been long acquainted. I mean, ever since they got into the Big 12,
Well,
there was a pretty mutual disrespect
Oh,
between
no.
the two
They
of
don't
them.
like each other.
You know?
TCU and Texas are not
No.
fans of one another. And TCU does not like Texas.
No.
And so
it's not like them and Tech.
and
That
so-
one's kind of different, you know?
from Gary Patterson's perspective, I think first of all, he was probably being courted for a lot of different places because we'll get to this in a moment, but he's a very good defensive mind. But I certainly think that there has to be an element of I would like to stick it to TCU.
Right.
I don't like the way that this ended, and I would like to get a little bit of receipts.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, especially, too, because he was a guy that built up that program, and then they hired the SMU head coach. Like that,
I mean, there's a
that
lot
to
of
me
things.
was the TCU sticking it to him.
Yes.
And so it kind of
I think there's a
seems
little bit
like
of
the dominoes
I don't want to say
continue to
revenge,
fall.
but a little bit of clapback here.
A nice, smile and head nod, and then walk away.
Yes. Now, here's the other thing about this. Let's take a look at it from the Texas perspective. Now, we don't know what his duties are going to be there as special assistant to the head coach. I would presume, I think, this is probably going to be something along the lines of like a fancy title for a defensive analyst.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be on the field.
Nope.
He may not even be in the booth.
Absolutely not touching the offense.
He's not. No. Oh no. But he is. My guess is he is going to be. They didn't want to make him co-defensive coordinator because he probably doesn't want that. He probably doesn't want an on-field role. Mm-hmm. So here's an opportunity for him to have an opportunity to use, stay in the football game, probably cash a nice paycheck, and also not catch any of the stray bullets that may be coming towards Pete Kwiatkowski and Steve Sarkisian should the defense not improve. He's going to be able to avoid that fire a little bit. So he's going to be, and I would guess that if you walk around at practice, you'll see him, but I bet you will not see him on game day.
No.
I bet you won't see him on game day. I bet he won't be in the booth. I bet he won't be involved in the play calling.
Yeah.
He will be involved in the scheme part of things. Mm-hmm. And that is, in many respects, I think a really smart move by Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's a guy who not only is he's a defensive wizard, guys. Mm-hmm. I know that it didn't work out the past couple of years there at TCU, but this is a gentleman who is, you go talk to defensive people around. I think Dave Aranda had some stuff to say about him whenever he was mutually parted ways with TCU about the impact he's had on defense in college football. Mm-hmm. He's had a massive impact on him, and so he's still got. He's one of the foremost minds in defense, and furthermore, and maybe people aren't talking about this enough, but he knows all of these teams in the Big 12.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He knows all of them. He's played against Oklahoma. He's played against Tech. He's played against Baylor. He's played against all.
And forget if a lot of them have new coaches, but a program's a program.
He knows how to scheme against a lot of these teams, and so for Texas to bring him in, I think that was a pretty savvy move. And for Gary Patterson, there's certainly got to be a little bit of clapping back at your old team a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be weird. When that photo came out earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday.
Odd.
It was weird. It was weird to see. It would be weird, but here's the thing. It would be weird to see Gary Patterson in a South Carolina shirt.
Oh,
It would be weird to see Gary Patterson in a Utah State shirt.
That for me is just like when I saw Mac Brown in a North Carolina shirt. Like,
yes.
It's just you see him in orange forever, and you don't picture him in a different color.
It's bizarre, and it's going to take some getting used to. But I also don't think you're going to see him a lot.
No.
That said, it's certainly interesting. Do I think that Gary Patterson is going to single-handedly turn around the Texas defense? No.
No.
And you never know how these things are going to work out because in the end, this is not his defense. He's just helping. And he has not been a defensive assistant. That wasn't a defensive coordinator. The last time he was a defensive assistant and not defensive coordinator was 1995.
Yeah, that's it.
When he was the defensive backs coach for Navy.
Can he recognize his role as a part of the team?
Right.
Is always interesting.
How will those – because the other thing about Gary Patterson is he's got a big personality.
Yes, he does.
How is that going to fit in the room? It's interesting, certainly, to keep an eye on. But Gary Patterson is the new special assistant to the head coach at Texas. A phrase I didn't think I'd say.
Special assistant to the head coach.
I will say I did not think I would say that. So
Yeah,
That's
there's
big
a
doings
first for
there
everything.
there in Austin. Certainly keep an eye on that one. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You help support the show. We'll send you this recruiting magazine. You will get the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands. So make sure you check that out. TexasFootball.com/subscribe makes a great gift as well. It's TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Here at Texas Football Today, we are a program that talks about football.
Sure.
This is not that. Pickle,
We're so excited.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We are so pleased to be joined by a gentleman named Perry James. Perry James is the owner and proprietor of afoolserrand.com, fools with a Z, and he is the world's foremost chocolate milk expert and sommelier. Perry, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Greg. Pleasure to be on the show.
Thanks for taking some time. I have a million questions, but my first, and I'm sure you hear that a lot, but my first question is, so chocolate milk, huh? Like, how did you find yourself getting into the world where you became a guy traveling the world trying chocolate milk?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to give you the best shortened version possible. I've always liked it for sure. But a while back, my wife and I decided we'd save our money for as long as we could, quit our jobs, sell all of our stuff, and travel for as long as we could. And so we, it's obviously in the pre-COVID era. So we traveled for about a year and still had money left over, and made it 2 years just trying to travel in the world. And I was always drawn to like the dairy case for whatever reason. We'd go to Norway and I would want to see what they got for chocolate milk. I'd pick up a bunch and just drink them. A few months into that, I just, I said, why don't I start taking pictures of this stuff and documenting it? I know there's a bunch back home in the States, so I don't know. So I just started, writing reviews and taking pictures and translating all the stuff. And after about 500 of those, I figured, I don't think anyone else is doing this. I'm going to call myself, I guess, the world's foremost chocolate milk expert until, proven otherwise. And, 500, 1,000, 1,500 later. And, we're at 16 something now, so just going strong.
Well, and I'm looking at your website. It says 1,573 chocolate milks reviewed.
Yep.
Okie dokie. And from all across the world. And in watching, I found your stuff on YouTube, which is really where, I came to be familiar with your work. And it strikes me, one of the things that really drew me to your content, you're very clearly passionate about chocolate milk. Like, this is something that, it seems like it's not a job for you. It's a hobby. Is it fair to say that this is just something that you really enjoy and you found a way to just kind of make a little niche for yourself?
That's a good question. And yeah, it sort of began as a pastime, became like a passion, became obsession, and, have that kind of a sort of completionist sort of a drive, I guess, sometimes. And it sounds lame. I swear to God, I'm like a normal guy otherwise. It's hard to make that claim when this stuff's out there. But it's just, I just think niche is the way to go. I mean, go an inch wide and a mile deep. And you guys with Texas football, I know it seems like there's so much content to cover, but to anyone else, it's like, wow, that's pretty niche. And I think that's the way to go.
And we're talking with Perry James, the world's foremost chocolate milk expert here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation in hashtag TFToday. Something I was thinking about last night when I was coming up with questions for you. This is going to sound strange. Do you like milk? Like, because chocolate milk is a very different thing from milk. Is it just chocolate milk, or do you like strawberry milk, or what's the deal here?
I like all flavored milks for sure, but I got to make a cutoff at some point, or else I'm just going to kind of overdo it. I'm going to be honest with you, those might disappoint some people. I'm not a big fan of just regular milk flavor, whatever that is. I'll have it in my cereal, I have it in my coffee, but just by itself. And over the years of, some of these farmers forced me to drink it. Here's this stuff right out of the cow, have at it. I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? For me, it's kind of chocolate or chocolate adjacent, like cookies and cream or chocolate mint or something like that. That's in scope, but all the other flavors, sadly, I do try them a lot, but I don't review them.
Well, and
gotta draw.
one of the things that I really appreciate about your content is it strikes me that one of the things you really seem to enjoy about this is going to these dairies and talking with the people who are making it. That this is really how much of the enjoyment of this whole project comes from just meeting people out there who are making this type of product.
Yeah, it's a good point, and that's something that was unexpected along the way. At first I'm just going, I just want to chasing the flavor. I want to find the best one. But, at some point, like the people you meet and the situations you run into and some of the hospitality you receive and some of the conversations you have, that's really what's kind of the gold at the end of the day. I do try to mention that on some of the videos and stuff like that. And it certainly helps. That doesn't necessarily help the score or the review. If I had a good connection with a person, it hurts. It always sucks to call someone's baby ugly. I've had to do that a few times, but I don't take pleasure in that. But in general, yeah, you're right, man. If that comes through in the videos, then I'm very happy with that.
So I was telling Tepper yesterday, I was like, man, I feel like I know a lot about chocolate milk, like compared to an average person. I was like, this guy is making me look like an absolute rookie. So like from a person at home that doesn't get to go try all of these different chocolate milks, I'm curious, what milk makes the best chocolate? Like whole milk, 2%, what milk do you think makes the best?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's whole or go home pretty much. I mean, I do review them all, but not just the whole that you see at the supermarket is capped at 3.250000% fat, which, there's, as it comes out of the cow, it could be up to 4.8%. So they take that, and dairy fat's very valuable. So they'll allocate it towards higher margin items like yogurt or ice cream. So, but when you go to like a local dairy and you get like a non-homogenized or cream line milk, that doesn't have it skimmed off the top, so it's a higher fat content, and you get that kind of more of that buttery cream flavor. I know it sounds super lame, but it's really there. It's I could point some out to you in your local area. I think that might do that.
Oh, we'll take any suggestions.
Yeah.
But the other question
Sure.
I have for you here is, say, do you ever just make chocolate milk at home, like yourself? And if you do, like, is dry powder like illegal? Like, is it heavy Hershey syrup? Like, what do we need to do at home to experience like the greatness?
Okay, so I think you got to start with the base, right? It's you start with a good like non-homogenized, ideally cream line milk. And if you're a powder or syrup person, I'm probably not going to convert a person one way or the other. I did just recently do a Nesquik video, and reviewed the syrup versus powder. I grew up on powder. It has cachet to me, but if I'm honest, I think the syrup is a little bit of a better play, because if you if you put too much syrup in, you don't really pay a price on the texture side. It's still going to be smooth and drinkable. If you put too much powder in there, it might hit you right in that the Kermit the Frog, the uvula thing, and make you cough a little bit. So there's some good chocolate powders out there. Cocoa Metro just came out with one that's super good. Definitely an upgrade over your typical Nesquik. But yeah, you can mix your own for sure. A lot of people do that.
Perry James here, talking chocolate milk here on our show, and very excited to have you. Now, I don't want to blow up your spot. I don't want to to have to reveal everything, but like, there's no way this is your straight job, right? Like, you've got to have there's got to be another way to, or are you making a living going around the world talking chocolate milk?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I get zero compensation. I get the occasional free chocolate milk here, and I'd rather pay for it. I'd rather pay twice for it, but. No, for the period of time we were traveling, once our money ran out, I was back to looking for a regular job. And, as luck would have it, with 2.5 years gap on your resume, so to speak, and you're off doing chocolate milk videos, that's not the most, doesn't have the most cachet with hiring managers. So it took me probably another year to find a job. Fortunately, my wife is a lot smarter and more employable than I am. So, I do have a real job now for sure, so that's why I only crank out about one video per month, but we're still on the grind all the time. We can work remotely, and we travel a lot and still hit up as many dairies as we can, so there's no end in sight.
Is your wife into chocolate milk as well? Is this or does she think you're a psychopath?
Yeah, I mean, she has been by proxy, so she's probably had the second most. I forced her to try, the really good ones and the really bad ones I have her try. So she's had quite a few, but she's a super gamer in terms of like, hey, let's drive 11 hours to get this one crap chocolate milk, on the weekend or something like that. She's always been very helpful with that. And just having like a oddly enough, having like a female presence sometimes when I show up to some of these places, there's a lot less skepticism involved. Some of these dairies you show up to don't have a storefront, and maybe they don't want you there. Maybe they're skeptical of like, who are you, part of PETA or something like that. But she's always a softening influence on that when we show up to places unannounced.
All right, so let's talk about the product here, because on your website, afoolserrand.com with a Z, fool with a Z, you've got more than 1,500, nearly 1,600 chocolate milks ranked. So let's start with this. Because you've also got a map that would make you have a lot of friends around here in our part of the nerd world with your map. So where is the center of the chocolate milk universe right now? Where is the center of the chocolate milk world?
Oh, the absolute center is Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's Amish country. There's a lot of Amish Mennonite farms out there. I don't know if it's the proximity to Hershey, Hershey, Pennsylvania, and that which has, I guess, is the chocolate influence. But there's so many independent, local, small dairy farms in Pennsylvania and into New York State that just kind of blows away any other state, and it's mind-boggling. And they're not all easy to find, not all online. There's probably lots more out there that I don't know about, but that's what I'd say be ground zero for sure.
And then, when you go and you try a chocolate milk, and I've watched a lot of your videos, so I've seen a fair amount of your process, but what are you, as far as an elite chocolate milk, like the one that's going to stick with you, that's going to get close to a 10 on afoolserrand.com, what are you looking for when it comes to that? What are the characteristics of a prize-winning chocolate milk?
Yeah, for me, it's to some extent simplicity. Chocolate milk should have 3 ingredients, so when one does and it's really, really good, that just feels right. My taste preferences have changed over, just like anything. Like if you have 1,000 hamburgers or something like that, the first few, your taste library and of experiences is going to be a lot less extensive than your 1,000th one. So it has changed over the years. And one of the hallmarks I like is like a grassy flavor to the cream, which is weird if you haven't had it, but it's kind of like the difference between grass-fed beef and corn-fed beef. If you've ever had that, there's like I don't know if it's like a gaminess or that kind of a barnyard sort of flavor, some people say. I really enjoy that. It just adds dimensionality that's not otherwise there. And feels like it gives you a better connection to the product and stuff.
And finally, we of course are based here in Texas, and I noticed on your map you've bounced around Texas a little bit. Not as much as you've been living in Pennsylvania basically. But as far as Texas chocolate milk is concerned, I don't want to put you on the spot here if you can't remember. But is there one or two that we should be on the lookout for here in the state of Texas that would be worth going out of our way to find?
Absolutely. So there are a few. I just recently had some. A friend of mine just swung through Texas and coming through I-20, picked up a bunch, and then dropped it off here in North Carolina. So it was really nice to have some folks doing that. But and I haven't had all of them, so I can't speak to some of the ones that I haven't been to. But I'd say that something like Volleman's is really quite good, and you'll notice it's in a glass bottle. It's out of Gustine, Texas. Depending on where you are, it's kind of central, sort of between Dallas and Austin. And that's one that's quite good. It is homogenized, so I think there's still room for improvement there, but it does have a nice cocoa flavor. It looks gorgeous and it does drink very nicely. Also, like if you're into like a darker, like legit dark chocolate flavor, the Waldo Way is one, but it's a raw chocolate milk, which is not legal in every state. So it's unpasteurized. It's just as it is out of the cow, but they have like a proprietary dark chocolate syrup that's been passed down for 100 years through their family. It's thinner than usual because it doesn't have like cornstarch and all that other stuff in it. It's a very unique taste, but it was kind of a good experience. And I think that's in there's one in Tyler and one in Mineola, I think.
Okay, yeah, out in East Texas. Yeah. Okay, this is for my edification only as somebody who's watched a lot of your content. I'm a huge fan, as you can probably tell. You wear a lot of hats in your videos. I've seen a Phillies hat. I've seen a Royals hat. Do you have an affiliation? Do you have do you have a team, or is it just like I like hats?
Okay, so that's a great question and very observant. And sometimes I do feel like not controversial there, but I grew up a Phillies fan. I grew up in Southern Maine, and our AAA team was the Maine Phillies. So I've always been a Phillies fan. Did live in Philadelphia for a while too. I'm also a Philadelphia sports fan. So
Ooh, buddy.
I know.
We're based
but,
out
so I was
of
a big
Dallas.
Eagles fan, but my heart was with Andy Reid. So now I'm like a Chiefs fan,
Man.
sort of, because I love Andy Reid. And I also lived in Kansas City for a while, so hence became, the Royals hat used to be very innocuous because nobody's afraid of a Royals fan. No one's going to hate on you for wearing a Royals hat. But they pulled out an amazing World Series a few years ago too. So I'm still just kind of Royals in the AL and Phillies in the NL.
Okay. Good. That answers my question. He's Perry James. You can find I mean this sincerely, probably the most impressive database of maybe anything I've ever seen. If you go to afoolserrand.com, a comprehensive ranking of more than 1,500 chocolate milks across not only in America but across 51 countries. It's afoolserrand.com with a Z. Perry James. PJ, appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for fielding a weird email from an internet show about
We were
football
so
in
excited.
Texas. We were so thrilled to have you on, and we look forward to seeing what you have next.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much for the opportunity, Greg and Ashley. Very much appreciate it. And again, I'll take a look at what you guys are doing, but it's niche also, and I very much respect that. So just, stay on the grind.
Man, you and me, we're blood brothers. Appreciate you, my friend. Take care. There he goes. Perry James of afoolserrand.com, fools with a Z, AFOOLZERRAND.com. It is have you browsed through the website?
Oh yeah.
The website's nuts. Like I
It
can't
is.
like
Well, and here,
and part of the reason he kind of hit on it there. I think part of the reason I like it is
he's
like
niche and he's passionate about it.
He's niche and he's passionate about it. He's got his one corner of the world that he's like, I want to be the best in that.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that us?
That's literally what we do here. Like we are, and I love that he definitely did some research on that and like recognized that we are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
Of like, it's the same thing we talk about over and over again with this job of like we could go out and cover the Cowboys like medias all across the state do, or we can be.
We can go to Mineola, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Like. That's so cool.
And I did watch his Nesquik review. That was one of the ones that I think everybody wanted to do. It's one of the things. It's like if you're like a movie review podcast, everyone wants you to review a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's super honest about it. He goes, look. This like he mixed the powder and stuff like that. And he's like, look, this has like a lot of memories for me.
Yeah.
So like I get it.
I get it.
But like, if I'm being honest, it's just not that great.
Right.
You know?
Because he's had 1,500 other ones.
Yeah, exactly. Really excited to have him. I appreciate him hopping on with us. I had emailed him, and he was fired up about hopping on. And by the way, like his YouTube channel does not have nearly enough subscribers.
No,
Like,
yeah, y'all need to go subscribe to this because
Yeah.
that's the other thing we were talking about. Like, not only is it just cool content, like it's from a person who does videos for a living.
it's
It is
really well edited.
so well shot, so well edited. It's genuinely intriguing. Like it's fun to watch.
And they are. I'll say this.
He takes time and spends it on
Yes,
it. You know.
they're very easy watches.
Yes.
These are very. It's really cool. So I hope you guys will go and check that out. I believe it's afoolserrand.com is the name of his YouTube channel as well. So anyway, it's Perry James, the world's foremost chocolate milk expert. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle, who's buzzing right now. For
Yeah,
second
I
pair of
don't-
segment final thoughts.
Like I don't even have other thoughts other than like I genuinely can't tell you how pumped I was. And I guess it goes back to like I told you this. I love chocolate milk. I always have. My mother is Trish is the biggest chocolate milk fan on the face of the planet, and so it was like I can't wait for her to watch this because she was so pumped up about it. It's just so cool.
Awesome. We appreciate
So cool.
Perry James.
And
hopping
I'm
on
glad
us.
that powdered Nesquik is not illegal because I like him. It brings
Yeah.
back a lot of memories. So I'm glad that like I can still drink
well,
that and not look like a scrub.
I think he recognizes it. I think he recognizes like, look, that's the chocolate milk experience for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
Is you get the milk out of you get the jug, you get the powder, you mix it up.
yeah,
I think what he's trying to do is show you that there's a whole other world out there.
yeah. And I'm excited. Like I
It's a
want to
big
go if we go to Tyler again. I want to go try
Find
that milk. Yeah,
Find that milk. That'd be good. Anyway, we appreciate that.
so
That's
great.
going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Perry James of afoolserrand.com for being our guest. Coming up Monday, headlines from across the state and my interview with new Abilene Christian head coach Keith Patterson. Make sure you join us Friday. Or Monday, rather. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tupper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.